when you open the volume mixer, it showed that all the other sounds were coming out through these. Just Dragon Age decided to come out through the speakers instead. And there's no way to just sort of go, hey you, come out through a different output device. You know, the default one, the one that's selected. So what I had to do was unplug the speakers, close Dragon Age and reopen it. Anyway, so that's happened. How else would you want this stream to start? If I didn't start with technical difficulties, it wouldn't be Checkerbeard Plays Dragon Age. You have entered the city of Orzammar, which is in turmoil. The throne stands empty and the assembly is deadlocked, unable to decide between Prince Helen... Yeah, I didn't want to read that anyway. Okay, everything's on fire, but the fire's drifting downwards, which probably means it's safety fire. That's fine. You, can I hear you now?
Fair journeys, Warden.
I can hear you. Can you hear him? I'm going to assume you can hear him because, honestly, it'll take about 5 minutes before anything I say.
Those statues are dwarven paragons, if I remember right. The best of their ancestors.
Okay.
They say the dog spawn have left for the surface. Show some pity for a poor old man.
Yeah. New codex, the Paragons. Alistair was right. As I studied among the dwarves, I became aware that their social system was rigid as the stone that surrounded them. From the lowest servant to the king of Orzammar, each dwarf has a caste, a rigid social standing which dictates what he may do and how he may do it. What fascinated me then was that the dwarves, stubborn and proud as they may be, have built in a way for even the lowliest dwarf to bypass the caste system and reach prominence. Any dwarf who has made an achievement of significance can be named a paragon, elevating that dwarf above all others. To become a paragon is to be recognised as essentially a living ancestor. You can do that by having kids too. That's genealogy for you. Your words are considered ineffable, and the dwarves liken you unto a god. Your family, those you choose to ascend with you, become the founders of a new line of nobility. Indeed, every existing noble house among the dwarves traces its line back to a founding paragon. It's a rare thing, however. In my visit, I learned that only one paragon has been elected in generations, the smith Branka, exalted for her discovery of smokeless coal. Ooh. I met the paragon Branka only once during my stay, and I consider it an odd occasion indeed, surrounded by those of her house. This ill-tempered woman was draped in the finest clothing and jewellery, and was obviously revered even above the highest nobles, perhaps even above the king, yet she seemed to enjoy none of it. The burden of being a living legend is great, it appears. Statues of the paragons are found throughout Orzammar, though nowhere so prominently as in the Hall of Heroes, through which one passes on entering from the surface. It's a breathtaking sight to behold, great works of stone, all seeming to hold up the ceiling above. There's doing a great job holding up the ceiling. It's meant to impress upon visitors to Orzammar, all who have gone before, I think. It's also meant to remind dwarves going to the surface and thus abandoning their brethren forever of all they are leaving behind. Okay, what's that flashing? Legend of the Juggernaut! I'll come back to that because this isn't story time.
As you say.
Time. Oh, you can pick up a codex from any of these paragons. That's
Now that's a thing of beauty, daughter. If you work hard like Branka, all Orzammar will know your name.
Mother, I don't want to be like her. She...
Don't say that! Not to me, not to anyone. Now get back to the forge. I want to see more details.
Yes, Mother.
dwarves have really long arms. Hello. You arrived.
May the ancestors look kindly upon you.
Sure thing.
Why are you smiling like that? You look suspiciously like the cat that swallowed the pigeon.
Canary.
What?
I look like the cat that swallowed the canary.
I once had a very large cat, but not my point. My point is, why are you smirking?
You were watching her with great interest, I might add. In fact, I believe you were enraptured.
She's our leader. I look to her for guidance.
Oh, I see. So what guidance did you find in those swaying hips? Hmm?
No. I wasn't looking at, you know, her hind quarters.
Certainly.
I glanced in that direction, maybe, but I wasn't staring. Or really seeing anything, even.
Of course.
I hate you. You're a bad person.
Okay, I don't actually know how that's even happened.
I shall do it.
But whilst trying to romance Lily, I've apparently accidentally romanced Alistair. Sure. Now, those are holding up the ceiling.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Balin incite a riot.
You not speak that way about the man who should be king!
That got uncivil quickly. No one is born with the rights to the throne. The sitting king may recommend a successor, but the Assembly ultimately decides who will rule. House Harrowmont is one of the oldest noble houses, as old as Orzammar itself. Endrin's most trusted advisor, Harrowmont, is well known for being an able administrator and the author of many compromises in the ever-warring Assembly.
Vieta, surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I want order.
You did just see that guy get stabbed, right? Order just took an axe to the thorax. And I missed a passable pun there. To business. I need Orzammar's assistance. Preferably all of it, not just the upper halves of everyone. So if you can stop cutting each other in half, that would actually be helpful to
Surface
everyone.
problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the Assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here.
Surface problems. Is this a functioning city? Can I say function like this in the slightest? What the fuck are you doing?
See, that's why I don't want you surfacers seeing our worst. You'll think that's all we are. The market is thin, but busy, and the tavern never closes. Bad blood is usually kept to the proving. Should toss Balin and Harrowmont in there. Sort this all out in a hurry.
Sounds... Yeah, the proving sounds reasonable.
Personal battles for honor and ancestor. I don't expect a surfacer to understand. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate. The true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter.
Sure.
Yes, you should.
Wow. So this is Orzammar. It's huge.
Well, at least the captain of the guard's a well-balanced fellow. Chip on both shoulders.
Ancestors. I'm sorry. Did you have an offering for the ancestors? Although, I can't imagine your ancestors reside in the stone.
So this is a shrine.
I don't know that word. This is a section of stone kept bare to receive our prayers. The stone gave rise to our people, and it is where their spirits return in death.
And what were you praying for?
My name is Vilda, widow of Turok of the Smith caste. I pray here every day for my son, Rak. I only wish I knew whether I should be asking for his safe return or for the ancestors to accept his soul.
Okay, what happened?
It was 5 years ago. He was only a youngster. He joined a Deep Roads excursion, the only smith to go with the warriors to repair their arms. He was so proud, but he got separated somehow. When they came home, he wasn't with them.
Go look for him?
How? There is no way except to brave the deep roads yourself.
I'm a Grey Warden. It's what we do.
Warden? So you could do it. Only wardens face the deep roads without a company backing them. Oh, thank you. The ancestors finally heed my prayers.
Take heart, good widow Filda. We'll do our best.
Please, find me as soon as you return.
I forgot Lily was functionally naked. It's been a while since I last played this.
Is that drunken singing I hear?
Probably. You have an exclamation mark. That makes you important.
Maker's blessing on you, sister.
Dwarf. Maker. Eh?
I'm Brother Burkle of the Red Cliff Chantry, returned to my ancestors' land to spread the chant of light. I'm petitioning to open a chantry in Orzammar.
Whose permission do you need to do that?
The Shaperate controls changes in Orzammar's structure and society. I need the Shaper of Memories' permission to open a prayer meeting.
Shaper of Memories?
The Shaper of Memories controls the Shaperate, Orzammar's record system. Like the Chantry's historians, but more thorough. They track the births and lineage of every dwarf born in the city. Every property sale, death in battle, marriage, or divorce.
Want me to talk to him?
Oh, I'd hoped you'd say that.
Oh, you might.
I can see the Maker's hand on your shoulder, guiding you always.
If this chantry could help just one person as much as it helped me, it's worth any trouble.
Please, let me know as soon as you've heard anything.
No. I saw a thingy behind me while he was talking. Where was it? I saw writing that I didn't see on the way here. No, really, where was the writing? I don't know what Dragon Age Dwarvish looks like, So it could have been that. God damn it! There it is! Okay.
Orzammar welcomes you.
So that's what you call it. No, I didn't know that was a venture forth place. Because there's someone else with a name over here. There's a floor carving. Okay. Let's talk to the floor. New codex to the city of Orzammar. You've got a name, Nerev.
Did you see that? I cannot believe what the city has come to. This would never have happened when Endrin was alive.
I say people are at each other's throats, but they're aiming a little low.
The city is torn apart. King Endrin is dead, and the Assembly can't decide who takes the throne. Lord Harrowmont or that monster Balin.
Balin the son?
Aye. What a terrible burden for a father to have only Balin left of 3 fine sons. In the end, Endrin himself recognized that Balin cared for nothing but power. It was Endrin who ordered his son away from his deathbed and embraced Lord Harrowmont as his heir.
Okay, what do you know about Harrowmont, though?
Lord Harrowmont should be our king. He was King Endrin's closest advisor, the only one he could trust. Endrin himself, ancestors welcome him, asked the Assembly to endorse Harrowmont.
To be fair, that sounds reasonable to me.
You come at a sad time, stranger. I'm going home to wait it out. I suggest you do the same.
I wonder if dwarves have log arms, because they programmed in all the arm movements for humans and only scaled down the legs for dwarves. Dagna, you have a yellow name.
Excuse me. You look like you're not from around here.
What gave it away? The height? Could say that.
Oh, wonderful. I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle?
I am a mage.
I've been trying to reach someone there for years. I've sent missives with every caravan, but I never get a reply. I want to know if they would accept me for study.
You see, the only way to say, but dwarves can't do magic, is a really harsh way of putting it. Because it begins, you're crazy. Why wouldn't they? Well, let's say it for herself.
No dwarf has ever studied at the Circle of Magi. I guess you never read First Enchanter Caplin's treatise concerning dwarfs and the non-heritability of magic. He tested dwarfs from 20 bloodlines and found they couldn't perform any level of spell casting, regardless of lyrium exposure or time on the surface. The Circle speculates that lyrium in the stone shields us from spiritual influences, and over time made us immune to them.
Huh! That's interesting. I probably did read that, so yeah, of course I read that.
I want to go to the Circle to study. I don't want to do magic. No dwarf can cast spells, but I don't see why I shouldn't study it. It would be a valuable exchange. Orzammar would learn of one of the great natural forces of the surface. And the Circle gains direct access to our knowledge of lyrium smithing.
It sounds reasonable. I'll bring it to the Circle.
That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcasts. Tell them I've already begun reading the Teventer Imperiums for Tikum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Magister Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child?
She's so enthusiastic and adorable. I'm glad we're helping her.
Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting by my father's shop.
Well, she's fun. Diamond Quarter. Well, I need to go there. I'm going to turn the fan off because I can see that the output from the fan appears to be louder than from the desktop. Also, I'm going to get a Twitch so I can actually... I only just realised that I could hear the fan quite clearly over the game. Okay. You have a name!
You have come at a difficult time. Orzammar is ailing for want of a king.
But not anything important to say. Okay.
News of the hour. Lord Balin promises radical changes that will offend the ancient paragons. Have our traditions no value?
That, doesn't sound that news, but...
This has dragged on too long. It's an insult to King Endrin's memory.
Even people with yellow names don't have important things to say. I've spoken to you before, haven't I? Yes.
Legion of the Dead Warriors secretly wear Prince Balin's colors. Our prince has Orzammar's deadliest warriors behind him.
So, how is it the dwarves have a king? I thought they voted on everything, or something like that.
They vote for the king, like the Vatican. And yes, he is king, as well as being pope. They're two separate roles, but they're the same person. Assembly chamber. Where's that coming from? It's just like... Pretty sure that's molten metal. Where's it coming from? Where's it going? How's it kept that warm? Why am I not on fire? Shaper it. There we go. Hello? Who is it?
Thief! Who would dare take from the memories? Orden, I'm outraged. A thief in the Shapered. What have we been reduced to?
A library with one fewer book. Did you get a good look at him?
I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head. Almost like he took pride in being castless. Imagine. He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dust Town. They couldn't know the value.
What the? Hello.
Oh, pardon me. Were you looking for a particular volume? Not that I could really help. I don't know the libraries very well. I'm just doing some research.
Yes, I would like all the Dwarves of Orzammar, please. What kind of research?
I was looking for something about the Orton Tig. It was lost during the last Blight, and there aren't many records left. They were a noble house once, descended from the Paragon Orton, who composed the grand epic of the Seven Brothers and the Ortonic Symphony. My mother's family believes they were descended from Kalana Orton, who was training in Orzammar when the Tig fell. I'm even named for the house, Orta. Unfortunately, any records would be buried in the Tig's ruins, somewhere in the deep roads.
Well, I've already got to go there.
A Grey
Why not?
Warden? Mother always said that if anyone could find the Tig, it was the Wardens. I hear Prince Balin and Lord Harrowmont have both been sending out small teams these days. Yes, if you can find the Tig in any records, that could do it. That could prove I'm a noble. If you could. Maybe now that you're looking, it's almost too much to hope.
It shall be done.
Legion of Steel. Paragon Caradin vanished in the 11th year of the reign of King Veltor. With the Paragon, the entire process for golem manufacture was lost. Expeditions were sent into the deep woods to track him, but the Darkspawn drove them all back. Finally, in the 2nd year of the reign of Queen Getha, 126 golems, the entire Legion of Steel, was sent to recover the Paragon. None returned. The Shaper of Golems refused to support any further attempts to find Caradin, and the Paragon was officially declared dead. The Shaper had never reformed from the loss of an entire legion of golems, and never again allowed an old golem regiment into the deep roads. Well. Shaper!
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories.
How come half the people instantly know I'm a warden? And half the people I say are a warden, they go, a warden! So I think it's a bit weird that, you know, half of a non-magical race are telepathic. So how do you know?
The Grey Warden's visit has been recorded in the memories, along with all who accompany you.
Don't memories tend to go backwards? Okay. While I'm here, how do you feel about a chantry?
That is an odd request, especially for one so new to our city.
I come on behalf of one who isn't. One of Orsammar's own has returned to spread the chant.
I thought so. This is not the first time he's made this plea. My answer to Brother Burkle hasn't changed. So I ask you the same. On what basis would you have me insult the ancestors and overturn 2,000 years of tradition?
What harm would it do to let him preach?
Wherever this chantry has spread among humans, it replaced all beliefs preceding it. Were we to let these preachers into Orzammar, how long before the ancestors stop hearing the voices praising them?
I'm gonna go for the cunning answer. Go for the money option.
What sort of charities do you mean?
Widows and orphans.
Traditionally, that is their extended family's responsibility, but sometimes people fall through the cracks. Very well, he may hold a prayer meeting as he requested, if not build a new temple to his god. At least the words would come from one of our own. Now, is there anything more?
Just talk to me about Orzammar.
We were a great empire once, outnumbering even humans and elves. We traded with your Tevinter Imperium, and our land stretched as far in the deep roads as theirs did above. Kal Sharok was capital then, but we lost too many battles. We lost our golems, and we lost our territory. Now the Empire is simply ruined tunnels filled with darkspawn.
Where's Kalsharok?
At the other side of the old empire. During the last blight, the kings of Orzammar knew they couldn't hold everything. They sealed the deep roads, abandoning everyone still trapped in far-flung settlements. It was the only way to survive. Kalsharok is the only other city to outlast the blight. We only rediscovered them recently, and they still haven't forgiven us.
I've just read how they lost the golems. So let's go back to basic Orzammar.
I will settle your mind if I can, Warden.
First
Please,
questions.
speak your mind. Your presence here has been recorded in the memories. I wish I knew what significance it has.
That's not the first thing that I was sent here to talk about. It's all dealt with. Okay. All right. That's books. Books. In praise of the humble Nug. I once served a human some nug, and he proclaimed that it was like eating an unholy union of pork and hare. The idea disturbed him so much that he declined to finish his serving and made himself content with some stale bread. Of course, this only goes to show that the surfaces, human or otherwise, have tragically unrefined palates. The nug is surely the most delicious animal I have ever tasted. Only a dead man would not salivate at the thought of a tender morsel of roast nug melting in his mouth. The paragon Varin, although his house has fallen, shall always be remembered for discovering the wonders of nug flesh. Admittedly, it was discovered only out of desperation when he was separated from his legion and lost in the deep roads for a week, but we won't hold that against a good paragon. While nug pancakes are nuggets, my own children love these, and the nug dishes one encounters most often, nug can be prepared in other interesting and elegant ways, like King Ansar Edekun or adored nug, served on a hot metal plate and finished in the oven. Shouldn't you at the dining table? Strikes me more comfortable. And dressed in a cream sauce flavoured with deep mushrooms. Deep mushrooms. You must be careful when using the mushrooms from the deep roads, because they are often grown close to dark-spawned bodies. They say that this is what gives them their unique flavour and intoxicating scent, but also means that consuming too many of them can result in curious afflictations of the mind. Stick to salad. Poorly laid out library.
Very well.
Big book.
It
Big
is
book.
begun.
Orzammar politics. Explains why it's a big book. As dangerous it is to mistake a dwarf's caste, it is far more deadly to mistake his alliances among the noble houses of Orzammar. Everyone in the city is allied with someone, whether by blood or by word. The nobles do not engage directly in commerce themselves, as that is the domain of the merchant caste, but they do serve as patrons. They invest in shops or in artisans' work, and in turn reap a share of the profits as well as a measure of the credit. Merchants and warriors alike benefit from the service of a prestigious patron. The relative power of each house is ever changing. It is usually safe to assume that whichever noble house holds the throne is at the top of the heap, but below that things grow into a tangled mess. Houses ally with one another by marriage, earn rank and prestige with competence loyal to them or from their bloodlines with provings. They earn when their the artisans they patronise become sought after or well regarded, or when the merchants they invest in become successful. The degrees of power that these achievements confer is so murky, even to the dwarves, that it isn't unusual for nobles to challenge each other to provings over whose smith forges better belt buckles, or whose servants have the best manners. Nor is it out of the ordinary to find two merchants arguing over whose noble patron has won the most acclaim, for the rank of the patron is the rank of the client. Nor is this more apparent than in the assembly where most dashes representatives of each noble house meet. Although the king technically rules Orzammar, kings are elected by the assembly, and so each king must work constantly to maintain support of the dashes. Kings who prove unpopular find their heirs deemed unacceptable to inherit the throne. Power then passes to another house. Gwyn and Lily looking for more books. Alistair not. I think that says a lot. I'm going to stop reading the codices out loud until hello chest. It's locked. Traditional dwarven folk songs. No pancakes. Okay. Wall of memories. Okay. That's a codex thing, not a a lot of codices. Okay. I'm going to talk to the shader. Right. I passed the assembly on the way. That makes an unnecessary noise. Chamber of Assembly! In other news, this place is huge. You've got an exclamation mark.
Warden, welcome. It is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartak Devorn, top advisor to our good Prince Balin. What news do you bring?
I need aid against the Blight.
Yes, the treaty. I've seen it in the Shaper's libraries. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now.
Oh yay, bureaucracy. This is more important than politics.
No one wishes this fight over more than Balin. But while it rages, Orzammar can spare no one to combat what may or may not be a new blight.
It is a new blight. There is a new blight happening, I swear it.
I believe you. But what are we to do? If Balin followed his heart and sent his men to aid you, Harrowmont would steal his throne. We would defeat the blight and return to find our homeland devastated by an incompetent tyrant.
And if you don't, your homeland gets destroyed.
Perhaps you could prove to Prince Balin your intentions are just. If you show you owe Harrowmont no fealty, I'm sure Balin would help you. Harrowmont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrowmont's deception.
Irrefutable evidence? Which I suppose you have?
I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude.
What evidence do you have?
Harrowmont promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Harrowmont can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harrowmont gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes.
Isn't there someone you could report him to?
Normally, the Shapers would handle this sort of accusation. They are the scholars who manage our laws, histories, and genealogies. They are the final arbiters of all disputes in Orzammar. Unfortunately, the Shaper of Memories is the most important among them, and his grandfather was Lord Harrowmont's aunt's first cousin. Obviously, we cannot expect him to offer an unbiased opinion.
Ah! I'll think about it.
Don't expect this offer to last. If my prince hears you swore allegiance to his enemy, he won't be so friendly next time. I will be here if you change your mind.
Okay. Just checking. It was him I watched cut someone in half on the way in, wasn't it?
The assembly is in session. Enter quietly if you wish to observe.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the surface trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshers, lords and ladies of the assembly. I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough. The assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions. Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the assembly of the clans. Only Deshers and occasional guests of state are allowed in.
Grey Warden, hello.
Forgive me. I am so exhausted. I completely forgot about the message from the gate guard. Welcome to Orzammar, Warden. I hope you can forgive our unrest. The loss of our king has hit us hard. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne.
In your opinion, who has the authority to aid me?
Harrowmont's man, can be found at the Harrowmont estate. Vartag Gavorn, Prince Balin's second, is often here in the assembly. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
Okay. I have material evidence. Oh, hello.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Forrender, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help.
I need to talk to Harrowmont.
In an ordinary time, Lord Harrowmont would be honored to meet you. Unfortunately, we've already caught more than one of Balin's spies approaching Harrowmont under a pretense of friendship. So I'm afraid I won't be able to take your word. If you want to speak to Harrowmont, you will need to prove he can trust you.
How about these? From Vartag.
I see. Well, it hardly increases my confidence to hear that you went to him first. I assume you refused?
Neither of these answers. I'm looking to find out what...
If
you want Lord Harrowmont's assistance, first you'll have to prove he can trust you.
Just quit dicking about.
You're asking the King of Orzammar to send armies to the surface, but Orzammar has no king and we have no army. Right now, the men who should be fighting Darkspawn are brawling in the street. If this situation is not resolved, we face civil war. If you want Lord Harrowmont's time now, you'll have to prove you have no intention of turning against him later.
How do I prove I'm not looking Balin?
That's a generous offer. If you mean it, you might attend the proving today. The Deshers take it very seriously. And unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down.
I'm going to find out why they dropped out?
That would be enlightening. Though I hope you won't pry too deeply into things they don't wish revealed. If you wish to show your loyalty, enter the proving as his lordship's champion. With your order's reputation, I've no doubt the ancestors would favor your arm. Balin would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then.
I don't want to start picking sides.
Then I'm afraid your only choice is to wait until there's a winner. Lord Harrowmont cannot risk his life working with someone of unproven loyalties. If you change your mind, let me know. The proving is this afternoon, and Lord Harrowmont could certainly use you on his side.
Okay. This place is very huge. What's through here? Royal Palace. Go on then. Let's see who's in there.
I shall do it.
There's no king. Royal Guard. What are you guarding? There's no royals. Royal Estate. Door. Door. What was bang?
This isn't the vault. We have
enemies.
Pardon?
I must.
Okay, don't. Okay, you don't heroic offense. Just
Let's make this
What's going on?
It shall be done.
By the ancestors. Good on you, Warden. You caught them in the act. I guess desperate times drive people to strange things. Thanks again, Warden.
okay. So this isn't the vault, but what is it? Just keep digging. Oh, wow, this is a branching place. I don't want to go stealing things. This reminds me a lot of Markarth. Like,
it is begun.
Fantasy artists seem to have quite thoroughly decided what dwarven architecture looks like, and largely speaking, this is it. You appreciate guarding. Okay, when I stand on this, it makes noise. What does the noise do?
It is begun.
Legion of the Dead Warriors secretly wear Prince Balin's colors. Our prince has Orzammar's deadliest warriors behind him.
Okay. That's why you have yellow over your
This has
head.
dragged on too long. It's an insult to King Endrin's memory.
Okay. You're one of the people I can talk to.
Lord Balin's personally defacing statues of the Paragons. Shocking allegations abound.
Totally unbiased perspectives. Sure. Noble. Noble do then.
Do you see how things lie, Warden? Lord Harrowmont cannot trust you unproven, but he welcomes a good faith gesture.
Bartek wants me to show Harrowmont is a cheat. Can you prove otherwise?
That you spoke to him even after our discussion is not reassuring.
I didn't speak to him
so
after.
have you decided to earn my lord's trust, or will you throw your lot in with the snakes? Do not tarry. Proving starts this afternoon.
Yeah, that's all very well and good, but I've been given no reason to trust either side. So, by all very well and good, I mean complete bollocks. A letter from King Endrin. My guilt weighs heavily on me, and I know now that I was a fool. Only a fool would cut open his own heart and burn it for the sake of appearances. I allowed the Assembly to send my child to exile and death because I feared an inquiry into Trian's murder would taint our house with scandal. You've been my rock and my shield through these long months, and for that I thank you. But I must ask for one thing more. I wish to discover if my child survived. Even the smallest trace would set my mind at ease. Send your men, your scouts, anyone who will go. Balin thinks I am mad. He says that if word spreads of my wish, our house will be undone. He doesn't know that Edakan is already lost. I destroyed us when I sacrificed what was most precious. Please, Parel, help me. I come to you not as a king, but as a father. What? Is it just me, or is that saying that one of Balin's brothers might still be alive? Is that the answer? There are two choices, and I have to choose option 3.
It is begun.
Neither of the two warring factions, but one that people don't know is still alive? What was that scroll about? Council Brit. Oh, just on the floor there. Key to the city. It's agreed that no rules of procedure were explicitly broken, but a 5-day filibuster is nonetheless worthy of censure. Wow. Division of House Gorosmode property was deliberated for a full session, and forfeiture of the southern estate deemed a necessity. Since the birth of young Cade necessitates its elevation to noble status, and it is unthinkable for a noble family to live in the slums, it is the responsibility of the father to accommodate the placement of his family. It is not possible to simply generate new space in the Diamond Quarter without compromising Dyke's structural integrity. Lord Trace's comment that if Lord Gorosmode didn't want a new heir, he shouldn't have slummed for a concubine was indeed inappropriate, but the proper procedure for resolution through proving was followed. Both parties agreed to accept his retraction, and that matter is considered separate and closed. The decision of the Assembly regarding the placement of the Duncoat clan stands. Right. I've not really been given a reason to trust either side. Just a reason not to trust either side. So this is all very real world politics. And I'll be back in a minute.